this matter so soon.
Governor Abiodun calls for improved advocacy and awareness of the disease.
Again, I want to thank you. I am informed that you came with quite a lot of support for us, gloves, thermometers, protective wear, aprons, and so on and so forth. We are indeed very grateful. We will make sure that these things are put to effective use. I'm also told that you've also assisted us in the area of technical training, particularly in the setting of our emergency operations center. We are also indeed very grateful. I'm also advised that you also came with information tools for us as well. These I have told them to ensure that they replicate. We're even going to be putting up billboards, and I'm sure you're aware that we set up emergency telephone lines that our epidemiologists will be answering so that people can call.
The Commissioner for Health in Ogun State discloses at the meeting that the Emergency Operations Center has been activated, noting that mobile application has been deployed for information dissemination.
With regards to surveillance, our partners have been able to support us in contact tracing the 40 isolated contacts. And to update you, sir, today is day 6, and all 40 contacts are doing well. None has developed a fever or any symptoms of coronavirus.
The team from WHO and NCDC promised to help the state in development of incident action plan.
That the World Health Organization is here to support Ogun State government in response and in preparedness for COVID-19. The mission of the World Health Organization is actually to support countries to respond to infections and to promote healthy living. And we work with governments of nations. So we are working with the Nigeria Center for Disease Control. We are working with the Ogun State Ministry of Health. We are working with the Lagos State Ministry of Health currently. We have technical guidelines on how to deal and how to prevent and control COVID-19. And we are working with the State Ministry of Health, with the Honorable Commissioner of Health and her team to put in place action plans.
We are here, our mandate is to protect the health of Nigerians, and we are here to support the state and the response to the COVID-19. And we've been on ground since Friday. Like the Commissioner has said, we came with response commodities, which has been handed over to the state. And we are supporting the state in the response to this outbreak. And some of the activities we've also done is we've trained lavage staff where the contacts have been quarantined, and we've also trained the healthcare workers. There's going to be assessment of the isolation center using our national assessment tool to know and evaluate the assessment, the isolation center. There is also going to be an assessment of the state preparedness and response level.
They urge the people of the state to remain calm and observe high level of personal hygiene. Tunde Olanero, OGTV News.
The confirmation of the first case of coronavirus COVID-19 disease in Nigeria has led to the reconvening of interministerial and multisectoral meeting on preparedness and response to the scourge. This follows the evaluation of issues revolving around Nigeria's efforts at protecting citizens from the disease and intensified flow of credible information on COVID-19. During the maiden meeting of the Interministerial and Multisectoral Preparedness and Response on COVID-19, which was convened on the 21st of January this year, Nigeria was in a secured state from the disease. The agenda and focus of this follow-up meeting is therefore a more brainstorming one for obvious reasons. Ministers and representatives of relevant agencies involved in the preparedness and response on the disease took turns to highlight efforts and challenges with the Minister of Health, Dr. Sagie Hanire, during the House component.
To assure Nigerians that the Federal Ministry of Health has been strengthening measures to ensure that an outbreak in Nigeria is controlled and contained. A multi-sectoral corona preparedness group led by the Nigeria Center for Disease Control has been activated at its Emergency Operations Center, and we work closely with Lagos State health authorities to respond to this case and implement firm control measures.
The immediate national investments, which we really want this Honorable House to do or to address, the national stockpile of response commodities, the renovation and strengthening of treatment centers, digitalization of surveillance and contact tracing across the country. We are using SOMAS. We have started, but we still want to continue. Then for the states, investment in treatment centers.
For the port health, I think there's a need to see synchronization or harmonization of the information from those who enter the country vis-a-vis the data that is being collected by NCDC. How do we track these people?
What lies ahead is an action plan that tends to find how prepared the response and containment of COVID-19 is concerned. At a news conference that preceded the meeting, the health minister reiterated that there is no new case of COVID-19 apart from the index case in Lagos. The presidency has joined in taking preventive measures against the coronavirus disease by screening all visitors to the presidential villa, Abuja. All Aso Rock workers are also screened as they enter the main reception for public access into the offices. Health personnel stationed at the reception check the temperature of visitors and workers upon arrival. The visitors and workers are also given hand sanitizers to disinfect their hands before proceeding into the building. Nigeria has so far recorded only one case of the disease known as COVID-19 in Lagos State. However, the country is now on alert, taking unnecessary measures to avert a possible spread of the infection. The House of Representatives has resolved to suspend plenary for 2 weeks for fear of coronavirus spreading to the National Assembly. The resolution was part of the prayers of a motion moved by Mr. Josiah Edem at the plenary today, which was unanimously adopted. The minority leader, Ndidi Elumelu, particularly made the additional prayer to the motion that the lawmakers adjourn for 2 weeks to allow adequate preparation for the disease at the National Assembly complex. The prayer was unanimously approved. The House of Representatives has passed a resolution calling on the federal government to convene an emergency National Council on Health meeting to strategize on tackling coronavirus in Nigeria. The House also urged that more emergency funds should be released for effective intervention in the management of the virus. Those were among resolutions reached by House members following a motion of urgent emergency from Representative Oyim Edim on the need for emergency response to tackle coronavirus in Nigeria. The lawmakers also passed the resolution for the National Assembly to suspend plenary for 2 weeks as a preventive measure against the spread of the infectious disease. Meanwhile, a bill seeking to prohibit and criminalize casualization of workers after 6 months of engagement by banks in Nigeria, sponsored by Representative Waranagi, went through second reading. Peptic ulcer is a sore that develops in the lining of the stomach or the small intestine. Normally, a thick layer of mucus protects the stomach lining from the effect of its digestive juices, but many things can reduce this protective layer, allowing ulcer to occur. In this report, medical practitioners proffer answers to the causes, effects, and solutions. Idowu Fabajo reports.
Peptic ulcer is a sore that develops in the lining of the stomach, lower esophagus, or small intestine. It is usually formed as a result of inflammation caused by the bacteria H. pylori, as well as from erosion from stomach acids. Peptic ulcer is a fairly common health problem. An ulcer is created by an imbalance or unevenness between the digestive fluids, hydrochloric acid and pepsin in the stomach and duodenum.
But we know that people who don't eat on time, people who are stretched up and have in foregoing food, especially when you don't eat your breakfast on time, you run the risk of developing peptic ulcer.
The most common symptom of a peptic ulcer is burning abdominal pain that extends from the navel to the chest, which can range from mild to severe.
Well, if care is not taken, it can move from ordinary pain. It can advance things like vomiting. It can have excruciating pain that prevents even continuous activity. It can even have to increase and worsen and get to a stage of perforation of the gastric.
So definitely the pain will not give you peace. So when it gets to a certain level, we have people that the pain is so much that they are rolling. Yeah, so definitely you have to go to the hospital. But if one has peptic ulcer for quite a long time and is not properly managed, one of the complications is that it can get perforated, because you are eating up the lining of the stomach. It can get perforated and it becomes a surgical emergency.
Untreated ulcers can become worse over time. They can lead to other more serious health complications if care is not taken.
Well, the solution is you should understand your body. You should understand your body. You should identify the fact that if you feel uncomfortable, you should be able to complain. You shouldn't just keep quiet and say, well, it's just one of those things. It just happens and all that.
The solution still lies with you going to see your doctor. They must make proper diagnosis, because there are some other things that can present like peptic ulcer, which are not peptic ulcer. So they need to also make definitive diagnosis and provide appropriate treatment.
Certain lifestyle choices and habits can reduce the risk of developing peptic ulcers. According to medical practitioners, most peptic ulcers may not heal if the patient stops taking medication early or continue to use tobacco, alcohol, and non-steroidal pain relievers during treatment. Idowu Fabaju, OGTV News.
And still to come in the news, President Muhammadu Buhari receives Greek ambassador and 2 others in Aso Rock. More news and reports after this break.
From concept to delivery, every step is a mark of quality and experience. Our creative excellence guarantees precision, elegance, and class, and that's for all people with good taste in fashion. Leaning on sophisticated tailoring technology, we produce thousands of garments per day. Our Tailoring and Vocational Institute is next to none, training and mentoring hundreds of young and proficient tailors every year. Enroll or sponsor a candidate today. Wesley Creations, for exclusive fashion.
Welcome back. A bill for a law to establish the Ogun State Security Network Agency and Amotekun Corps has received the nod of the State House of Assembly. This followed the report of the House Committee on Security and Strategy, read by the Majority Leader, Honorable Yusuf Sharif, at a plenary held at the Assembly Complex, Okemosan, Abeokuta. House of Assembly correspondent Kolawole Osho covered the plenary, and his report is presented in this package.
The Ogun State Security Network Agency and Amotekun Corps Bill to assist in maintaining law and order in the state and connected purposes was passed during a plenary presided over by the Speaker, Right Honorable Olakunle Oluomo, following the presentation of a report of the Special Ad Hoc Committee on Security and Strategy by the Majority Leader, Honorable Yusuf Sharif. He thereafter moved the motion for the adoption of the report, which was seconded by Honorable Mushafiu Lamidi and supported by the whole House through a voice vote, in which the bill was read and adopted clause by clause by the Committee of the whole House. The motion for the third reading of the bill was later moved by the Majority Leader, Honorable Yusuf Sharif, seconded by Honorable Olushola Adams, while the acting clerk of the Assembly, Mr. Adedeji Adeyemo, did the third reading of the bill.
That a clean copy of the bill forward them to His Excellency the Governor of the State, Prince Dakwabede Mefar, for his assets. I so order.
Meanwhile, the Assembly has approved the nomination of the Commissioner nominee, Engineer Olugbenga Adetokunbo Dairo, who was screened earlier in the day following the transmission of the nominee via a correspondence from Governor Dapo Abiodun. The approval was sequel to the adoption of the report of the Committee on Transportation led by Honorable Oludaisi Elemide. The confirmation of the nominee was thereafter done through a motion moved by the Majority Leader Honorable Yusuf Sherif, seconded by Honorable Solomon Osho, and supported by the lawmakers through a voice vote. Speaker Oluomo stated that the approval of the governor's nominee by the lawmakers was based on the information and documents presented by the nominee.
Based on the information available to this House at the point of screening, the nominee, Engineer Dairo Olugbenga Adetokunbo, is hereby confirmed as Commissioner in the State. I so order.
In the same vein, a bill seeking for a law to provide for the preservation, protection and exercise by traditional rulers of their fundamental rights to be installed and buried according to their religion or beliefs and for other related matters has scaled second reading. Chairman House Committee on Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs, Honorable Akim Balogun, who moved the motion for the bill to be read for second term, opined that it become imperative to embrace modern realities with a view to respecting the religious obligations of the traditional rulers. Other lawmakers who supported the passage of the bill opined that fundamental human rights of the traditional rulers should be adhered to strictly according to the Nigeria's 99 Constitution. Speaker thereafter committed the bill to the Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs Committee for further legislative actions.
Similarly, the Ondo State House of Assembly on Tuesday passed a bill for a law to establish the State Security Network Agency and Amotekun Corps Bill. The Assembly on February 18 deliberated on the bill and committed it to the House Committee on Security Matters after scaling through the first and second reading and had its public hearing on the 24th of February. Mr. Bode Adeyelu read the bill for third reading, with Maito moving the motion for its passage, while it was seconded by Leonard Akeribido, the Deputy Minority Leader. Also, the Lagos State House of Assembly has passed the Amotekun Corps Bill into law by amending the Lagos State Neighborhood Safety Corps Agency Bill. The bill was passed on Tuesday. The lawmakers amended the Lagos State Neighborhood Corps law to include the Amotekun Corps. President Muhammadu Buhari has received the newly posted ambassador of Greece to Nigeria, Mr. Ioannis Ploutas. He arrived at the presidential villa Abuja to meet the usual reception ceremonies beginning about 11 a.m. Tuesday. Ploutas came to formally present his letters of credence to President Buhari. However, much of the interface between the president and the envoy took place behind closed doors. Buhari also received the envoys of Cuba and Equatorial Guinea on a similar mission to present their letters of credence. The Senate on Tuesday passed for second reading a bill to establish the Armed Forces Service Commission. The legislation mandates the proposed agency to ensure that the President strictly adheres to the Federal Character Commission principles in the appointment of service chiefs. The law will also make it possible for aggrieved Nigerians to sue the Commission if they felt that the Commission's principles were ignored in the appointment of service chiefs. If passed into law by both chambers and assented to by the President, the current agitation for due process in such appointments would become a thing of the past. Permanent secretaries in Ogun State have been tasked to mobilize and encourage their staff at improving the internally generated revenue IGR across ministries, departments, and agencies to further activate more development. Ogun State Head of Service, Stamp Planner Amokwe Choko, who stated this during a meeting with permanent secretaries in Abeokuta, said that they are the drivers of government programs and IGR is very critical to achieve set targets. She charged the permanent secretaries to always think out of the box and generate more revenue for the state.
IGR is critical because if you have loading projects and programs and there is no revenue to drive the programs, we will not be able to realize them. And I know that the government has different programs highlighted for 2020 to 2023, and we are as drivers of that program because we have to implement the government policies and programs. We want us to identify our areas, and then those who think they are not generating revenue can also contribute. You know, when we discuss those agencies that are supposed to bring in Nigeria, for us to all to be able to utilize for government programs, we need to understand that we can also contribute to what those agencies are doing. So
the head of service advised the permanent secretaries to identify and assess themselves to know if they are making progress, asking them to work hand in hand with their commissioners to improve service delivery in Ogun State. Speaking on the IGR projection for our agency, the permanent secretary, Ministry of Physical Planning and Urban Development, Town Planner Yetunde Dino, said the ministry intends to generate 5.08 billion naira and 10.697 billion naira through subsidiary agencies, revealing that the embargo has been lifted from approval of petrol and gas stations. This, she noted, would have positive effect on the IGR. She said the ministry will intensify monitoring and massive enforcement of physical plan rules, saying all zonal offices would also help in meeting up at least 70% minimum of the internally generated revenue. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, says a review process of a draft of the nation's Electoral Act Amendment Bill that will include stringent sanctions against violations, increase citizens' confidence in the electoral process, and deployment of technology-based equipment, among others, is in the making. The INEC chairman, Professor Mahmood Yakubu, said this while declaring open a retreat of the review on electoral framework in Lagos. INEC chairman, Professor Mahmood Yakubu, said the review process is premised on the draft of the bill from the Senate Committee on INEC received by the Commission late last year, which had earlier been presented to the Executive for assent before the 2019 general elections. He said the Commission, having listened to the views of stakeholders and Nigerians, is fashioning out a more enduring legal framework that will address the critical challenges confronting the nation's electoral process.
Reducing the cost of elections. 5, curbing the incidence of violence and sundry malpractices in the electoral process.
The Commission's Director of Legal Services, Oluwatoyin Babalola, and other development partners said the retreat will serve as the final stage of harvesting necessary amendment to the Electoral Act 2010 left for presentations to the National Assembly.
The use of technology in election, registration and regulation of political parties, conduct of elections, and election dispute adjudication.
The electoral legislation also determines what level of transparency there is in the electoral process.
And the legal framework for the conduct of election is undoubtedly the foundation and credibility by which the election can be determined.
The retreat is also expected to give opportunities to INEC's resident electoral commissioners and their respective counterparts who are responsible for formulation of policies, planning, and conduct of election based on their wealth of experience for credible elections. The Supreme Court in Abuja on Tuesday dismissed the application for review of its January 14, 2020 judgment, which removed Emeka Ihedioha as Imo State Governor and declared Hope Uzodinma as the valid winner of the last governorship election in the state. The 7-man panel of the Apex Court, led by the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Tanko Muhammad, in a split ruling of 6-1, described the application by Ihedioha ruling as an invitation to sit in an appeal over its judgment. But Justice Chima Nweze, in disagreeing with the majority judgment, held that the Supreme Court had the power to overrule itself in a desirous situation. He affirmed the Court of Appeal's decision, which upheld Hehidioa's victory, adding that the Apex Court in the January 14, 2020 judgment wrongly declared Uzodimma winner of the last governorship election. The federal government, in collaboration with labor and the organized private sector, have commenced the review of existing labor laws in the country. The laws being reviewed include the elimination of sexual harassment in workplace law, labor migration, elimination of child labor, promotion of gender equality, and occupational safety and health laws. The Industrial Arbitration Panel, the National Labor Advisory Council, and the Office of the Registrar of Trade Union are also expected to undergo a review. Minister of Labor and Employment, Senator Chris Ngige, said this at a 3-day retreat organized by his ministry. The minister said he is hopeful that the new bills will promote right of work, encourage development opportunities for women and men in conditions of freedom, equity, security of human dignity, and enhance social protection for Nigerian workers. The National Assembly Joint Committee, which is investigating activities of foreign vessel owners in the country, worked out the representatives of the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency from a public hearing. The panel threatened to sanction its Director General, Dakuku Peterside, if he fails to honor the rescheduled meeting by appearing in person. The Chairman, Senate Committee on Local Contents, Senator Teslim Folarin, and his colleagues in the House of Representatives, Ligo Idagbo, lamented the decision of Peterside to shun the invitation despite several reminders. The Joint National Assembly Committee on Local Content, Petroleum Downstream, and Legislative Compliance are currently investigating the breach of Nigeria laws by foreign vessel owners in the coastal region of the country. The leader of the NIMASA team was not allowed to introduce himself before he was asked to explain his mission and what capacity he has for appearing before the panel. The Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Ajia Sadia Farouk, has explained why beneficiaries under the federal government's N-Power program are yet to receive their monthly stipends. The minister said the delay is because the ministry wants to understand and have a full list of beneficiaries that were paid before she was asked to take over the affairs of the program. The ministry revealed that it has asked those that were in charge of the program to provide historical background, justification for the last approval, and the last list of beneficiaries. The N-Power program is targeted at training and providing jobs for 500,000 young and unemployed Nigerian graduates between 18 and 35 years across the 774 local government areas. As of February 25, 2020, the minister hinted that there are 473,137 beneficiaries in the program. Hearing or auditory reception is the ability to perceive sounds by detecting vibrations through an organ such as the air. As Nigeria joins others to celebrate World Hearing Day, our reporter Idowu Fabajo takes a look at the significance of the day as well as causes and solutions to hearing impediment in the human body. His report.
At all life stages, communication and good hearing connect people, communities, and the world to each other. On this year's World Hearing Day celebration, the World Health Organization highlights that timely and effective intervention can ensure that people with hearing loss are able to achieve their full potential.
A lot of people are actually ignorant of the devices that are available at their disposal or in the market or at world at large for them to improve their hearing. Just like someone who cannot see very well, you have to go and see the ophthalmologist, optometrist, and you get eye glasses and you can see better. The same thing goes with hearing. But unfortunately, in this part of the world, we have people, because of ignorance, they have been sentenced, so to say.
Prevention is better than cure. All this depends on proper immunization of the pregnant woman, the fact that the pregnant woman should mind and be careful of the drug he or she takes, the fact that the pregnant woman should attend proper antenatal care, and then the fact that the pregnant woman should not expose themselves to radiations, and during delivery, they should go to a proper delivery centers, the maternity homes that are recognized, so that the baby comes out on time, does not have delayed breathing that will destroy or damage the ears.
The theme for this year's celebration is Don't Let Your Hearing Loss Limit You, Hearing for Life. Globally, there is lack of access to intervention to address hearing loss, such as hearing aids. Hence, early intervention should be made available through the health system for those who have hearing loss.
And most of these children, or most of the people that have impaired hearing, should not be taken to regular school because they will not gain anything. There are special schools and special ways of taking care of them.
And hearing loss doesn't limit you that you will not do better in life. If you have hearing loss, of course you can see here with amplifications, with assistive listening devices, will fit you hearing aid to hear better.
There are a lot of actions responsible for hearing impairment, which everyone needs to take cognizance of.
Yeah, well, hearing impairments do not cause just in a day. And your children, right from day one, don't pick their hair when they have problems. Because picking of the hair, using of cotton bud can cause hearing impairment, and at the same time, it can cause infection for the children.
One of the commonest causes of hearing loss in adults now that are acquired, that is that you get after you've been delivered, everything is fine, is noise. Noise damages the ear irreversibly. So what we'd advise is that people should try and avoid noise as much as practicable.
The World Hearing Day is celebrated annually on the 3rd of March. The aim of this day is to raise global awareness among the general public and policymakers about hearing loss and ear and hearing care, with a purpose to promote a more inclusive society for persons living with hearing disability. Ido Fabaju, OG TV News.
Teachers play a significant role in training, coaching, and determining the quality of education, which is critical to sustainable national development. Teachers' rewards are in heaven is a saying that has been from time immemorial. But teachers concerned believe that their rewards should be given to them while still alive. Those who spoke with our reporter, Yemi Aboderi, opined that teachers should be highly rewarded while still alive, and that this should also be done posthumously. The details are presented in this package.
Teaching is the art of building and impacting knowledge in the lives of others. And to be a teacher, someone needs to be well trained because they mold the life of others. If knowledge is power, then teachers must be the powerhouse. For most societies, the root of success in all sectors is traced to the teaching profession. Indeed, the long chain of other professions originates from the teaching profession. According to some nation builders, without a teacher, there cannot be a nation, and no nation can be greater than the quality of its teachers.
Teachers mold lives. They are nation builders. And anyone that is molding lives is like you are putting your hands in the work of God.
The products of teachers are made on earth here. You can imagine everybody must have passed through a teacher. The doctors are products of teachers. The professors are products of teachers. The governors are products of teachers. The president is a product of some teachers.
But in as much as we are taking care of the future, we believe we are nation builders. And for being a nation builder, the host of heaven who created all will also reward us in heaven. But we must also live well here on earth.
It's a karmic thing. You mold the destiny of others, your children will be good too, to make it in life.
The said teachers' rewards are not only in heaven but also on earth, as they also call on government and all other stakeholders to upgrade the welfare of teachers while they are still alive.
Presently, we have a listening government which is doing all it takes to take care of teachers' welfare. Minimum wage was signed in the states. Teachers' peculiar allowance also inclusive. That shows they are doing fine.
You will discover that if you go to Some developed countries, teachers are they are the highest paid in some countries. We need to change the remuneration of teachers. We need to increase their salaries. We need to give them better allowances, fine mortgage systems, low-cost housing, not this kind of housing you say you are selling it at 30 million naira. Where do you want a teacher to get that?
According to them, the nation is experiencing death of teachers in the country because those with good intention to join the teaching profession lost interest as a result of poor remuneration.
Most people wouldn't want to give their homes, their properties to teachers because everybody feels that once you are a teacher, teachers are the dregs of the society.
Teachers play a significant role in training, coaching, and determining the quality of education, which is critical to the nation's socio-economic growth.
The premier institution of technology in Nigeria, Yaba College of Technology, Lagos, once again inches closer to becoming a full-fledged University of Technology with the passage of a bill sponsored by Senator Solomon Adeola during his second reading on the floor of the Senate. Leading the debate, Senator Adeola recalled that the bill was presented in the last Senate but was not passed. He added that the upgrade will stimulate the economy's need for requisite technical, scientific, and technological skills for effective operation. The bill, which enjoyed overwhelming support from other senators, has however been referred by the Senate President Ahmed Lawan to the Senate Committee for Tertiary Education for further legislative action. The organizers of the annual quiz competition for students of secondary schools in Ogun State, SG Holdings Foundation, has extended the registration period for the year 2020 edition of the competition to Wednesday, 4th March 2020. In a statement by the management, the first stage of the competition will hold on Saturday, 7th of March 2020 by 11 in the morning. The competition is scheduled to hold at Abeokuta Grammar School, Yewa College Ilaro, Remo Secondary School Shagamu, and Ijebu-Ode Grammar School. Students are to go to the center closest to them. A mini coffin suspected to contain fetish materials was found with a 38-year-old suspected internet fraudster Aziz Adebowale when operatives of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission EFCC raided his house in Ibadan on Monday, March 2nd, 2020. Adebowale, who claims to be using the coffin as soap rack, was among the 6 persons arrested following weeks of piecing together tips on intelligence received on their alleged involvement in internet fraud. The suspects, which included a lady, Doinsola Bolumole, were picked up by the men of the Commission's Ibadan Zonal Office at locations around Oluyole and Alao Akala estates of the ancient city. Others are Ifelowo Ololade, Shonuyi Ayodeji, Folarin Oladele Olayinka, and Aluko Olawale. Items recovered from them include 4 cars, various brands of sophisticated phones, and an automated teller machine ATM card. You are watching OJTV News. Up next in the business segment, DPR shorts illegal gas plant in Lagos. Let's join Mojisola Sholaja for more news.
Welcome to the business segment of the news. South Africa slipped into recession in the final 3 months of 2019. The country's Statistics Bureau said on Tuesday the second contraction to hit the economy in as many years. Gross domestic product fell by 1.4% in the fourth quarter after dropping by 0.8% in the previous 3 months, Statistics South Africa said. This took growth in Africa's most industrialized country for all of 2019 to just 0.2%, its lowest reading since the global financial crisis in 2019. Droughts in parts of the country and floods in others hurt agriculture and power station output, leading to disruptions in electricity, gas, and water supplies. The Department of Petroleum Resources has sealed off an illegal plant refueling liquefied petroleum gas cylinders under high-tension wires in Lagos State. The Banagas LPG refilling plant, located in Lekki Phase 1, was shut down during a surveillance operation on Tuesday in collaboration with the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps. The Zonal Operations Controller, Lagos DPR, Mr. Ayoride Kadoso, who led the DPR team, said that gas was being operated without a license from the agency and under high-tension wires, which he described as dangerous. Kadoso noted that the Minister of Petroleum Resources, Chief Temipre Sylvia, had declared 2020 as the year of gas, but they want to make sure that all operators in this line of business operate in line with the rules and regulations. The revenue collected by power distribution companies in the country hit new record high of 473 billion naira in 2019. The revenue collection in 2019 rose by 35 billion naira, 8% compared to that of 2018. The Association of Nigerian Electricity Distributor, an umbrella body for the DISCOs, said the energy billed by the Transmission Company of Nigeria only increased by 1%, adding that the allowed end-user tariff remained at an average of 32.5 naira per kilowatt-hour average since 2016. That's all on the segment. Back to Tunji.
You're most welcome back. And on the world today, U.S. Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden has picked up 3 endorsements from former rivals on the eve of the most important day in the 2020 White House race so far. Also, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has claimed victory in Israel's general election, with partial results putting him ahead of main rival Benny Gantz. Let's join Mojisola Shulaja for details.
Voters in 14 U.S. states and 1 U.S. territory head to the polls on Tuesday in the largest day of voting in the United States primary season. More than 2/3 of the delegates needed to secure the Democratic nomination. 1,357 out of the 1,991 needed at the party's convention in July are up for grabs. California and Texas are the day's biggest prizes, with 415 and 228 delegates respectively. British Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has claimed victory in Israel's general election, with partial results putting him ahead of main rival Benny Gantz. With 90% of votes counted, his Likud party and its right-wing allies were on course to win 59 seats. However, that will leave them too short of majority. Mr. Netanyahu nevertheless declared the outcome the biggest win of his life. Monday's election was Israel's third in less than a year. Neither of the two main party leaders was able to command a majority in the 120-seat parliament following the last 2 rounds. Mr. Netanyahu, 70, is Israel's longest-serving prime minister. He is seeking a record 5th term, having been in office from 1996 to 1999 and again from 2009. India, Germany and Iran have reported new cases of the coronavirus, as the World Health Organization has warned that the world is in uncharted territory. More than 90,000 cases have been confirmed globally, according to the World Health Organization. In South Korea, the country with the most severe outbreak outside China, the number of people infected continues to grow, with another 3 deaths reported on Tuesday morning. In China, the infection seems to be slowing. It reported 125 new cases on Tuesday, the lowest number since January. One of the makeshift hospitals in Wuhan has been closed after it discharged the last recovered patient. A 3rd person has died in France. Oman's Ministry of Health confirmed 6 new cases of the new coronavirus in the Gulf nation, raising the total number to 12. The head of the European Commission has sent a strong message of support to Greece in its attempts to stop migrants crossing its border from Turkey. Ursula von der Leyen said the first priority is to ensure order is maintained at the Greek external border, which is also a European border. She promised Greece, which she called a European Aspida, £608 million in financial aid. Turkey lifted controls on migrants exiting for the EU on Friday. Mrs. von der Leyen inspected the land border on Tuesday, along with European Council Chief Charles Michel and European Parliament Speaker David Sassoli, accompanied by Greek Prime Minister Kyriakos Mitsotakis. And that's it on The World Today.
From The World Today, let's join Moses Ojewumi for the latest sports news.
Many thanks for joining us on Sport News. And let's start from the local scene. First Golden Grace International Schools have held its third biennial inter-house sports competition with various sports and activities competed in by pupils and students of the schools. Elizabeth Esson witnessed the ceremony held at the MKO Abiola International Stadium, Kuto, Abeokuta. Her reports.
Pupils and students of First Golden Grace International Schools